I remember a time before the internet. It was a cold and dark time whenever mass communication was limited only to the television and nobody seemingly shared the same interests that you did. But now, I can watch ignorant videos, read stupid arguments, and listen to overrated music. What's more, I can download a game onto my video games console where it can sit there and eternally mock me and remind me of how stupid I was to buy the game. As my rambling may suggest, I haven't quite had the best history with downloadable games. I primarily blame this on the fact that I was young and stupid, not thinking my purchases over well as I was stricken aghast at the prospect of downloadable content. So now I have games like this eternally bound to me. But we're not here to talk about that game. We're here to talk about another one. Bobble Plus. For those of you who don't know, this game is pretty much an enhanced version of Bobble. And for those of you who don't know what Bobble is, allow me to give a brief explanation. Bobble was a 1980s arcade game that attempted to capture a female audience. It did so by having cutesy characters and backgrounds and that awesome kickin' theme music. But behind its juicy exterior, this beast was a quarter sucking a hog, emptying the pockets of a many a gamers. Bobble Plus at least has the courtesy to not nickel and dime you every time you die, instead asking for an upfront cost of $10. Hey, that's 40 credits in the arcade that you just saved. On to the meat of the review though. Gameplay is pretty much copy-pasted from the original, which isn't necessarily bad, it just abandons any new and innovative ideas. Music isn't anything special. Of course, the iconic Bobble theme is there in all its glory, but the only other main track in the game is the title screen music, which is also used in extended form for a new mode called Arrange Mode. It isn't terrible, but a little bland. But if we're going to talk about bland, let's talk about the graphics. They're so subpar. On top of a cardboard cutout art style that would make New Super Mario Bros. Blush. Everything is so microscopic you couldn't appreciate the 2.5D characters even if you wanted to. I mentioned Arrange Mode earlier. It's a different set of levels to play through and it's available from the get-go. However, it isn't any more enjoyable than the standard mode. This game not only allows 2-player co-op like the original, but for Arrange Mode, up to 4 people can play at the same time. Joke's on this game though, I don't have any friends that would stoop to play this game to begin with. Also, this is one of the only WiiWare games that I'm aware of that has DLC in it. It's a shame really, I'm sure they lost more man hours making the extras than they got back selling it. Boredom is the main problem with this game. It's mildly entertaining at first, but around 5 levels into it, if you manage to hold out that long, you start to lose interest and you lose it fast. In closing, this game is okay, but it's definitely not worth the price, especially considering that you could have downloaded Super Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time for the same price. But I'm not done. Yes sir, we got us another double feature. Our second game for today, BustaMove Plus. In case you were wondering, BustaMove is a puzzle spin-off of Bobble using, well, bubbles to clear stages and engage in combat. Does this entry deliver? Well, take a guess. The main problem with this game is the gameplay itself. It's slow, and it really shows in battle mode. You'd think it's never going to end. BustaMove 4, which came out many years prior, implemented something called a chain reaction, which allowed you to combo and clear many bubbles at a time, raining death upon your enemies. However, they could do it too, and that led to fast, competitive, and fun gameplay. This game lacks it, which makes it cumbersome, tedious, and not fun in the slightest. I'm going to be comparing this to BustaMove 4 a lot, so just be prepared. The music on this game is bland, much like its counterpart that I talked about earlier. They even managed to make the sound effects crap on here. This game lacks many gameplay options to choose from, in contrast to BustaMove 4, which heralded a bevy of them. The graphics, while better than the previous game, aren't really anything to brag about either. Something else that just drives me up the wall is the inconsistency with names. In BustaMove 4, each of the characters had unique names that you associated them with, and you didn't forget them. Now the names of Maita and Monster are replaced with the likes of Bob and Benzo. Terrible. This game also shamelessly has extras for you to download, which I'm sure nobody bothered to buy. Final thoughts. This is a pretty lackluster game, even worse than Bobble Plus. At least it didn't strip anything of its predecessors. This game actually lacks many key features of other installments in its series, which doesn't help its case at all. Whenever Flash games that I play for free online have the exact amount of replay value as this $10 steaming turd on my system, something ain't right. I can rant and rave all I want about these games, but in all honesty, when it comes down to it, Nintendo's really the one to blame for this mess. Allow me to explain. WiiWare was seriously limited in terms of how big a game for it could be. In contrast to PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, which allowed games to be as big as they please, WiiWare only allows for a maximum file size of 40 megabytes, a pathetically paltry maximum size for a game in this day and age. As such, developers drop support for it quicker than the Virtual Boy, and of the few games that were made, they tend to be compressed more than they really need to be, or are just very simple games altogether. Thankfully, Nintendo seems to have learned from their mistakes, and hopefully they will continue to improve. But that doesn't really change the fact that these wretched things are what they are. For $10, you'd be way better off getting yourself a Nintendo 64 game.